As you can see by the calendar, we are getting the July Lightning cards in a couple of days on Thursday, July 3rd. So today I'm going to be giving you guys a full prediction on the pack, the program, and the Lightning rewards, as well as the bonus collection guy. So let's get into it. A few things to note before we go over the players. Number one, I'm just not going to say all their stats because it'll take forever. Obviously, these guys all had an insane month of June. That's just kind of a given. You can kind of tell based on the attributes on what stats they did well on and what they didn't. Another thing, too, I only made the card art for the Lightning card because I don't really have the time or a template to do all 15 cards. And then another thing too, this video is being recorded in advance. I'm recording this on June 29th. So if one of these guys has a stinker on the 30th or the 29th, then there's nothing I can do about that. So starting off with the pack, I have Wendel Perez. I don't know if I said this first name correctly, from the Tigers. He's a center fielder. He can play second, third, short, left, and right. So he can play everywhere except first and catcher. He's not going to be too special of a card. You know, he had a pretty solid month for the Tigers. The Tigers have been probably the best team in baseball thus far in the MLB, and he's been a nice contributor to their team. 95, 100 contact power probably wouldn't be too high. Clutch would probably be up there with pretty solid defense and speed. This would be more of a utility switch hitter card. Emanuel Corpas, I mean, the guy is well established as an elite closer. He had a tough start to the year, but he's really picked it up as of late. He could be a candidate for Diamond in the future. He's had a great month, and I think that they could give him a mid-90s reliever. Out of all the relievers that I was looking through, Emanuel Corpas makes the most sense for me for this spotlight program. A bunch of these other guys are either randoms or they didn't have that big of a sample size. So I went with Corpas, and I put him in the pack. His cards are typically decent. If you're good at the game, you can pretty much hit him, but if you're okay and you play on all-star and ranked, he could be pretty solid, but overall his cards are never too bad. Josh Naylor has been a bright spot for the Diamondbacks this season. They've kind of been a little disappointing, mainly because of their pitching. Their hitting has been great, headlined by Eugenio Suarez, Corbin Carroll, and Josh Naylor. I think that he'll be good against righties. He'll be okay against lefties, pretty decent with good clutch. I think this card is going to look pretty similar to his brother's card from Color Storm, Bo Naylor. He's a catcher, though, so he'll be a little different, but he'll be first with a right field secondary. Silver defense, probably. He'll be good against righties, okay against lefties with good clutch. Now moving to the rare tier of the pack, we have Andrew Abbott from the Reds. He's been amazing in the month of June, and also something I forgot to mention, on ShowZone, anytime you see a sweeping curve, I mean a sweeper, they just haven't changed. You can still have a sweeping curve, but they haven't added the sweeper to their website. It's a sick website, by the way. You guys should check it out. But anyway, four-seam sweeper, circle change curveball isn't an awful pitch mix. It isn't amazing, but it'll be solid. It would have been nice to have a sinker or a cutter, of course. Or maybe instead of the curveball, something else, considering he'll have a sweeper already. But regardless, 104 hits per 9, 111 pitching clutch, he'll probably be around there. He'll have decent control, pretty solid velocity, and good speed differentials. This will be a nice card. And then the last card in the pack is going to be, for me, my prediction is going to be Alejandro Kirk. He's been great for the Blue Jays. I feel like he's kind of an underrated hitter. Obviously, he doesn't bring a lot of power. I mean, he brings power. He's typically around 800 for the OPS, but he's known for his contact, and his batting averages have always been high. I personally value batting average pretty minimally, but when you're building up a card, batting average is pretty important for their contact attribute, and I think that for Kirk, he's going to be in the 110s for contact, vision, and maybe even clutch with amazing defense too. He'll just probably have a noodle arm, but not a bad catching option, even though there are a lot in the game. Moving on to the program, Tyler Freeman from the Rockies. I didn't even know who this guy was, and I saw his stats in the month of June, and I was pretty impressed. He's been one of the lone bright spots on the Rockies, alongside Hunter Goodman, but he was the first program reward, so he's obviously not going to be another program reward. I have this card being the first card you get in the program. Center field, second, third, short, all around just pretty balanced hitting with really good vision and clutch. Defensively, he'll be in the silver range with meh reaction, but he'll have a really good arm. He can play, a bunch of positions with good speed as well. Do you guys remember the OG Quinn Pinder from MLB The Show 21? He was in one of the team affinities. I think he was in the same team affinity drop as Edward Cabrera. He was on the Pirates. He wasn't like anything special, that card, but when I saw that Quinn Pinder is dealing for the Brewers, I was like, whatever happened to this guy? And now he's pitching really well. It was kind of just a blast from the past from a game that we all love. And I think that he could definitely get a spotlight card. A great pickup for the Brewers. He's been struggling. He was on the Red Sox for a little before, or after he was on the Pirates for a while. He came up as a Pirates prospect. Quinn Pinder definitely could see being one of these guys. Sinker, slider, curve, four-seam, circle change, great pitch mix. He'll have good velocity. He'll have good, good speed differentials. And overall, he'll be a pretty balanced starter. Now, instead of a former Pirate, we have a longtime Pirate in David Bednar. He had a really tough year last year, but he is certainly bouncing back for the Pirates this year. He's been amazing, especially in the month of June. I could see him getting this card. David Bednar cards in the past, especially his Diamond All-Star cards or whatever, they've never really been that good because his pitch mix has always been four-seam, curveball, changeup, I think. But they changed up his pitch mix on his live series card. It's four-seam, sweeping curve, splitter, or it might be just a regular curveball. I'm not too sure. But I have it changed to a slurve. I think that would make this card much better than a curveball because you have more horizontal movement with the slurve compared to splitter. I don't think it would be a sweeper because it wouldn't be accurate to that pitch. But, we've seen cards in the past this year have their curveballs changed to a slurve like Eric Gagne and Pedro Martinez. I think that would really benefit this David Bednar card, who would already have pretty solid per-nines in clutch. And then my prediction for the final program award is going to be Max Muncy from the Dodgers. He's been amazing in this month. He has an OPS of around like 1,100 or 1,200 in June. And I love his cards. He always has great power, never has amazing contact, but he always plays really well, leading into that power. I think he'll be 80s or 90s for contact and clutch. He'll definitely be in the 110s for both power. He'll have probably silver defense, maybe bronze at third and first. But overall, I love Max Muncy cards, and I would be thrilled to have this guy be the final program reward. Now for the collection Henchmen, so basically either Eugenio Suarez or Jacob Wilson, this guy I think is going to be Yandy Diaz from the Rays. Obviously, the Rays have been amazing in the month of June. They've probably been the best team in baseball in the month of June alone, and Yandy Diaz has been a big contributor to that. He's proven to be a great hitter in the past. He had a little bit of a down year last year, but ultimately he's strong. He's bounced back this year with a strong June. I think that this would be a nice card to add to the collection. First and third, he's a terrible defender, so he'll never have good defense, but his swing is really good, and he'll have good contact and power. He'll be better against lefties, as always, but he'll be a great card offensively all around. For the Retro Lightning, I think that they're going to go with a pitcher this time. For April, we had two hitters. For May, we had a pitcher and a hitter. I feel like we're due for a hitter Lightning and a Retro Lightning pitcher. And I think that we could be getting a Clayton Kershaw. He's about to get to 3,000 strikeouts in his next start. I don't know when it is, but he only needs 5 more strikeouts, or maybe it's 4. I don't know the exact number, but he's definitely going to get it either within the next 1 or 2 starts. And I think a great way to celebrate that, it would be a 99 milestone card, but they're not going to drop that right now in the power creep. So I think they could do the Retro Lightning instead. And I think that, he would be a perfect fit because it makes more sense for it to be a pitcher since the last 2 retros have been hitters. There are a lot more good hitters in the game than there are good pitchers, especially in the rotation. I think we need to get a good dominant pitcher outside of Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, and Donaldson. But I think Kershaw would be great. 4-seam slider, 12-6, circle change, sweeper. Really wish the 12-6 would have been a regular curveball. The 12-6, I hate that pitch in this game. It just doesn't work. I don't know what it is. It doesn't break horizontally. It's just easy to destroy. But everything else would be good on this card. You could be able to use this card efficiently without the 12-6. Having the slider, circle change, and the sinker. In the month of June of 2014, which is what this card is based off of, he went 6-0. he had 60 innings, I think, something crazy like that. And he had a .82 ERA, and he threw a no-hitter. So, yeah, this would be a pretty sick card. And then lastly, for the Lightning card, I have it being Wan Soto. Obviously, it's a little annoying being a Yankees fan, seeing him come back to life this month. He's been the best player in baseball in the month of June. OPS of 1235, that's what I checked yesterday. But ultimately, a Wan Soto Lightning card makes perfect sense. Everybody's going to be getting this card. It's going to be someone that people are going to want to be excited for. Giving us a free 96 Wan Soto now before we get a 99 later on in the year, I think it makes perfect sense. I really don't see anyone else being the Lightning based on the stats and based on, big names, because the last two have been big names, being Corbin Carroll and Tariq Skubal. I think Wan Soto is the most logical one, and, he'll be a 96. He'll be a beast across the board offensively. He'll be okay defensively, because they typically juice up the defense on these cards. Probably around silver, but overall, Wan Soto, I think, is a no-brainer, and I think would be a great free card for everyone to get. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys are new here, follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, but most importantly, make sure to subscribe on here on YouTube. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.